Let's see. I know we're not going to start here for another 8 more minutes, but I just wanted to make sure that y'all can hear me and see me. So if you can hear me, just give me a note in the chat, and then we will get rolling here shortly. Let's see, I'm just testing out my microphone, and if you can hear me, just please give me a thumbs up or a indication in the chat. That would be great. We're going to get started here in about 5 minutes, so grab yourself your pencils or whatever you're going to do, your notebook, sketchbook, and we'll go through this. Yeah, I hope to do these every Wednesday night, and we will focus basically on drawing the portrait. So I'll take you through step by step how I do it, point some things out, and we'll get that going. all I'm doing is just a little warm up, just kind of, it's always nice to get some spheres. Is my mic working, everyone? If you can, I can't tell, but if you can hear me, let me know. Testing 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Excellent. All right, Russell. Greetings, my friend from London. I think one day maybe I'm going to have to come visit you, or you could come to the States and visit us. Awesome. It's really fun, all the different people you end up meeting. I have a good friend who lives in Jamaica, Aubin. Actually, he tunes in sometimes to the Facebook group, but it's fun to go to different places and see friends. So I'm glad you joined, Russell. All right, so it's 7 o'clock, so let's get started. And you are welcome to draw along as we kind of work through this. I'm just going to go through my process step by step, drawing slowly. If you have a question, just drop it. Just drop it in the chat, and I will try and see it, because the chat right now is. Oh, where am I? Oh, yep, it's over there on that window. So I'll keep looking over at it, and if hopefully I'll see your question. Again, this is one of the. I've done this a couple times, but every time I do this, I'll get better at it. So bear with me, but we're here to really learn how to draw a face. So enough of that. Let's go ahead and get started. So every time I start to draw a face, I have to figure out just the angle. The first thing you want to do is determine the angle where it's looking. So let's start with this girl here that I have pulled down here. There's a great website called earthsworld.com, and for years I've been using that as my resource for portraits. I'll put it in here that you can look it up on your own. It's it's a photographer. He goes by the name of Earth, and he just has great reference material. So it's excellent. So anyways, so whenever I'm drawing a face, I usually will start off a lot of times with a sphere, simple sphere. And one thing, we need to keep this, it's very complex, but let's try and keep it simple. So let me just kind of draw a very simple idea over here. Let's say this is your face looking straight at you. Typically when we look at the head looking straight at us, it's not round because the sides are usually cut off. All right, like this. And then it curves around for a jaw. And if this right here would be the jawline, all right? And that jawline is going to be right about here on our girl, all right? And then usually when we have this looking straight at us, the eyes are going to be dead center from top to bottom. And then I try and keep this pretty simple here, and this is going to be about a third for the nose. And then between the nose and the chin, I drop it, the mouth right here. Now, usually the mouth will line up with these corners here. So when you are drawing characters or figure drawing or anything, a really good habit is don't leave this blank. So let's just say if you had a head, the simplest thing is just to put a cross section that would be that could be resemblance of the eye line, and then a bar coming down the center to represent the center part of the head. And then right here, this is where I call the temple. Temple is going to be like right here on the girl. It's that little corner. If you take up your fingers, you can literally feel those 2 points on the skull. It's like right on the outside of your eyes, right above it. And we use that as a measuring point. So it could be right here. And this is where we're going to get used to slicing off the side of our round sphere. So let's take a look. Let's apply that here into our sphere of our girl. So when I'm drawing a portrait, the first thing I'm going to look for are these temple lines, all right? And I'm going to do a new layer here, and I'm going to change the color here. Okay, so first thing I'm looking for are these temple lines, these temples right there, and I'm looking for that cross section, all right? So on my drawing here, this is what I'm going to put in first. So this right here gives me a sense of where I'm going to hang everything. So then the next thing I'm going to do on my drawing, I'm going to put just a little color here. Hold on. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is determine the center line of the head. So usually I'm going to come down like this. Okay? But better yet, center line of this is going to be kind of around just like that. So if I come back to my drawing here, and there's my center line. So back onto my temple here, right here, I'm going to create this. I'm going to cut the side of her skull off, or the sphere here. So we're going to get something like this. And of course, it's happening on the other side as well. From this angle, then, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to drop a line straight down the side. I'm going to come down to find her jaw, and usually her jaw is going to be right about there. And I'm going to just bring it around. So watch. Bring that down. Oops. And I'm just going to bring this around like this. So that's the basis of our skull that we are looking for. You're trying to get the side of your head, the crossbar between the temples, and then your center line coming down. This is something really good to practice over and over again, just to get this foundation. Once you get this foundation, then you could start dropping in some other objects. So let's kind of keep on going with this. And I've taken that off here so that we can continue going. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to combine those layers. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and get an idea where this nose is going to fall. All right. And then we're going to, next part we want to draw or come on in is, I usually like to start with what they could call this the mind's eye. This is where you have the third eye. This is this section of the nose. And a lot of times when I draw the nose, I like to think of it almost as a tie. So in this case, I'm going to come down. And all I'm doing right now is just trying to get a rough idea where all my parts are going. So we have our keystone. That's what that was. That's a keystone. They call that a keystone because if you were building an arch with stones, the keystone goes right up here, and that keeps the arch from falling in on itself. Anyway, so you have this keystone shape for the top of the nose. Next, I like to put in oftentimes is what I call or it's not what I call, it is called the ball of the mouth. And it's this part right here. You can see it over here in this girl. It's right there. And we all have it. So I'm going to drop that in. And it comes right behind the nose. And then in front of the ball of the mouth comes the chin. We'll drop that in. I will keep referring to this idea of construction. We've got to really master construction when you are drawing the face. If you get these parts down, it comes together much easier. These are hard to get your mind around, but they sure do pay off over time. All right, next thing I'm going to do is on my model here, I'm going to draw an eye line. Eye line is going to go right through the two eyes here. So I'm going to just lightly put it in right about there. And then the way that you can, one of the basic shapes is almost like a wedge shape that comes in. And let me show you how that looks. Comes in. And then it comes all the way down right below the nose. So you have this almost piece like this. And this is all, like I said before, an underdrawing. So we can we will make adjustments as we go along. All right, when it comes to drawing eyeballs, I like to actually draw the ball of my eye. It's easier for me to draw the ball of the eye because I could get the irises lined up. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and just continue on here. We have our ear coming in now. Now it's about time that I'm going to start using some lines of measurement. So in this case, let me show you kind of what I'm going to do here. If I look at her, top of our ear, and I could kind of like, now I'm doing this on the computer so you can actually see it, but I could kind of see the top of her ear lines up right through the center of this eye, but below this eye. So those are some measurements that I want to keep in mind here. So this is going to come above, all right? And it's going to be in this back quadrant here of this sphere. So we're going to come down. Now let's visually kind of get an idea of where the bottom of that ear is going to hit. Right at the nose level. Okay? All right, let's keep going. So we got our ear in now, and then the mouth. You could see that I'm going to look at this, kind of looking at this point and this point, and the mouth is kind of centered here. There's my center line. So it's going to come up. All right. All right. Nose is coming down. All right. All right, great. Let's go ahead now, and I'm going to take this. This is an underdrawing. I'm going to put it back a little bit, and I'm going to draw on top of it. I'm also going to make it bigger. This is the magic of okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started here with getting in some darker lines now. So I'm going to start with her eye here. Now with the eye, since I have an eyeball here, I am able to think of the eyelid wrapping around it. So I'm going to come up. And then I can see this one over here. And then I'm going to get her eyelid, the top part here, this little section here, and I get, once again, get a feel that this is wrapping around. Same thing over here. I'm thinking that this eyelid, the lower eyelid, of course, is wrapping around the eyeball there. Same thing over here. See, I'm keep trying to think of volumes and how these things work together here. Next, let's get this nose in here. When drawing a nose, I usually think of, like, we've talked about this tie shape, and you usually will have the ball of the nose, and of course we have the wings That's basically our nose there. So now her ball of the nose, I could already see it. It hangs a little bit lower there. So once again, using my measuring method, I could see that this little point of her nose is almost lined up perfectly vertical with the inside of her eye. So let's kind of try and keep a proportion there. And then the wing of her nose is lining up with the inside of her eye, which is true. Usually when you have the sides of the nose will line up on the tear ducts of the eyes. It's something to remember. All right. All right. Moving right along here. We'll keep just moving down the head because we're using our basic drawing, our underdrawing to help to dictate the direction we're going. So there is the temple line. There is the line at the end of the ridge, this ridge that I call it right here, and that's going to also be part of our mouth. So let's come in here now and go over a surface line to cover the surface of the mouth. And now I'm going to look really carefully because this is the center part of her lips. So when we're drawing lips, it's essentially like this, right down that center line. So we can use this center line to help determine how those lips are. Now she's at a 3/4 view, so the right side of her lips are going to be foreshortened. That means they're going to be much shorter than the ones on the left-hand side. So we really want to make sure we take that into account. Another thing I'm going to look at here is right now my guess on this in relationship to the nose here. This distance, I'm looking at this and definitely this is too long. Look how short that is. So at this point I want to make that adjustment. So I'm going to move up here. So this is the point of her lips that are this is this section here coming in like this and then like this. And then from the center line here, let's get our top lip in. Okay. All right, let's get her bottom lip in. And now I want to be very careful of where this starts. So you could see that the top lip is overhanging the bottom one here. So I want to start the bottom lip just slightly in here. And this actually extends a little bit there. So we're going to come around like this. Okay. Now we have her, this is the corners of the mouth. And this is kind of highlighting where that ball of the mouth is. It usually comes from behind the wings, comes all the way down, and then the chin will sit right on top of that. Okay. All right, let's get their chin in now. Chin, you can see, is already starting this crease right there. And I'm going to now, this is the direction. This is a little bit different than the direction I have over here. I've noticed my head is actually leaning more toward the left than what the photo is. So when I am drawing, I want to make sure that I'm using these guides to line everything up and not the picture, or else I'll get a twisted drawing. So anyways, there's my chin. Bottom of the chin is going to keep in this direction here. All right. All right. So we got those shapes. I'm looking at them closely. This looks pretty good. All right, let's get her, let's come back up to the top again and get some more of these details in place. So her eyebrows are coming in here. Again, I'm looking at alignments here. So I'm looking at this, I'm using proportion straight up and down here. I can see the eyebrows starting there, and straight up and down will almost put it just right at the center. So we're going to come up right there. All right. So let's go ahead and get the, next thing I'm going to do now is start getting the sides of her face. And that's going to really help me give a sense of her shape. So I'm kind of looking right now at this negative shape area here. So I want to make sure that I am picking that up. The other thing I'm looking at is where does her, this is coming way up here, almost, I can start to see the side of her face right at her eyebrow. So we're going to come all the way up here. And if you need to draw this lightly, I'm going to also come in pretty tight here. All right. And I don't like that one. And you can, I'm going to lighten this up just a little bit. That way I can draw it a couple times till I get I don't like that either. There you go. And with this line, which is interesting, is this line just continues. These are the things I like to look for. This line continues all the way down right into the pit of her neck. The pit of the neck is is when you have the neck on the head like this, the pit of the neck is right there. You can actually feel it on yourself. And let's see if I can, yeah, it's right there. And there's a tendon on either side of that that connects to the side of your head. And so with that being said, this actually is going right into it here. So we'll bring that all the way down here. Okay? And now with, I'm going to come back in on this other side here and then come right underneath her chin. All right, we're really coming together here now. Now, again, my underdrawing is I have, my ear is not foreshortened. Foreshortened means it goes back in space. So I've almost drawn my ear as if I was looking at the side of someone's head. So if I draw this, the side of a skull here, I literally draw my ear just like that. So let's kind of get get this part here. And I just want to make sure. Yep. Okay. All right, so now I'm squinting my eyes and overall I'm looking at my drawing. Kind of work on her hairline here. And in order to get my hairline, I'm looking at this negative space, trying to concentrate that this negative space here. So let's see here. Squinting my eyes because I'm really looking at this shape. And here's the deal. Here's something I just noticed. And I do this often, is this distance from kind of her nose all the way to her ear. I've got mine a lot further away. I think, as I look at it, should be more closer to this right there. Yeah, that looks a little more accurate to me. All right, so let's get the rest of her, just the shape of her hair in here. All right, now let's get the direction of her hair in, and I'm just kind of looking at right here at this corner. That's a great marker point to kind of get an idea of the direction of her hair. And then as we get up here, I got this thing going like that. Now it's just a matter of keeping my lines consistent to give the sense that this is wrapping around. I could come back in and give it some more detail, but this will just give me an idea that I'm on the mark there. All right. Now, coming in from her ear here, this is almost a beautiful straight line. And then we have, I'm looking at this hair as just a big mass. All right, let's get her, let's get this shoulder in here, and this is coming in just below her mouth right there, and then this back side is coming right about, let's see now, it's going to come in right about there. So this is really interesting. So because I have drawn this at the wrong angle, I've tried to make sure that everything I do just remains parallel to the angle that I'm drawing, and still get the likeness in place because I just keep following what I'm doing, following the direction that I've set forth. So what I'm going to do though now is I'm going to come in here and change it and if I was you can always do this just by turning your page if you made the same error that I did here. It's not really an error, it just happens. All right. Okay, great. So we have that in place. Let's go ahead and add some a little bit of shading now to help us determine where some of our forms are. All right. And if I was working traditionally, I just might take the side of my pencil and I might take the side of my pencil and just create some of these tones here. All right, here we go. So all I'm doing now is I'm just going to squint. I'm squinting to try and determine where the shadow is lying. I'm thinking about the form. Look at her upper lip. I noticed this a lot, that when we draw upper lips, they're in shadow. Look how much in shadow that is compared to the bottom lip. Got a little shadow here. And let's just put some tone in her hair here to help separate it from her the value that's on her skin. And I'm just kind of coming in here a little bit with my eraser, just to try and get some tones established. All right, let's come back to our drawing here now. All right, let's get into a little more detail here. Underneath the eyelids here, you have a little bit of a tone on the bit of an eyelid. And I'm just kind of going now into my tones and just using, for this case, just some hash marks to try and get some more of those values going on. Look at, this is interesting. Look at closely at her nose here, and you can see there's a shadow right there. And then she has just this little bit, a sliver of light. This is really going to give a sense that this is round. The idea is this, that when we have a sphere or a round object, if this is all in shadow, the part of the shadow that comes in contact with the lighter side is usually darker. It's because as light hits, it will bounce up from the ground and light up the underside. So that's kind of what that is. That is exactly what's happening under here. Let's go ahead and get this little more shadow or definition for her nose here. Same thing for her lips. And I'm just, once again, just slowly making my way down the drawing here. Squint my eyes. Get this ear here. Thing is with the ear, very simple formula to remember how to draw the ear. You're going to have this top part of the ear here, and then we'll have this section here, and then you have usually a Y in the ear. So if you are looking for this Y, it usually helps out quite a bit, and you could see it right in here. All right. Now look at this. This is interesting. I have this drawn in pretty hardcore here, where in all reality it's not even that at all. So this is almost like a straight line coming down. And you know, when I'm drawing, I am constantly making adjustments. So I'm okay if I have made that. I just draw on top of it. Most of these are exercises that I'm going through, so I don't even bother doing some deep erasing. It's just not important to me. Maybe if this was I was trying to do more of a perfect rendition of her, which doesn't interest me really. I'm more about understanding how these forms work. And of course, the more you draw, these things will come second nature to you. All right, I'm going to get some detail in her hair here now. I'm just going to follow some of my lines here. All right, let's come in here. There's a little bit of a waviness going here. All right, great. And I think what I'm going to do next, a lot of there's, as I'm going through this, I'm kind of making choices of where I want to work on next. Always trying to find and create illusion, volume. Some of it's academic. Some of it is just, I hate to say it, but at least for me, it's like what looks right. And that kind of falls into the area of style almost. Squint my eyes. I'm going to come in here and use my eraser a little bit. I want to get this side of her head a little bit more correct. There you go. Just that little bit. All right. I can see this comes down right almost to the temple here. All right, that'll do it. I'm going to come back in here to the layer I have set up for her shadow. Changed my brush to, it's this little graphite, it's like a graphite stick. Just squinting my eyes. And I'm asking myself, where are the highlights? Where are the brighter spots of her face here? Where is the most light spots? For me, it's like right in here, right on the top of these cheeks, and on the bridge of her nose. And then the rest of it, I want to try and push it back a little bit so those sections will all stand out a little bit. You know, I can remember the first time when it started to click. It takes some time for it to click. So just keep plugging away. Don't get discouraged. It'll happen. Just keep drawing. Keep practicing. Look at this. You'll start to see things. Like look at the highlight here on the right hand side of her chin here. That's pretty dark in shadow. So let's punch this back just a little bit. Okay. And this also is very dark there. All right, I'm going to come back in here now and pump this up just a little bit. Let's get a little more dark highlights in here. Oops, that's too dark. All right, there you go. Get some darker tones in her hair here. Okay. All right, I think we're going to call it a day on that one there. So I hope you picked up some tips, and we will see you. We'll see you next week, Wednesday night. Okay. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.